Hi, welcome to the Peace and Love podcast. I'm your host, Siva. Thank you for tuning into this episode. I appreciate it. If you've been tuning in for a long time, welcome back. If you're a newbie here, hi, nice to meet you. Today, I'm amped for this episode. I am really inspired because I feel like it's something that I would have loved to listen to maybe even a couple years ago, but especially like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's super close to my heart and something I feel like will be really impactful for you if you are wondering, hey, what does this life have in store for me? What do I want to devote my life to? Like, what do I want to learn about? What do I want to do? What do I want to do to make money? What do I want to do to feel good for myself? Like, all of these questions regarding how am I going to be happy in life? How am I going to have the funds to support my lifestyle? This will kind of give you an answer as to what your purpose might be, and hopefully it'll help you understand your purpose in a deeper way and then leave you with the confidence to feel like, hey, that goal is reachable and I know exactly what to do to get there for myself, and have the confidence to know, hey, I'm going to show up as myself and this is my purpose, so it's going to work out for me. I know exactly what to do. I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to do these things. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm also super excited on my end because I've kind of changed up my pre-podcast ritual. So we'll see if it makes a difference. We'll see if it's a little bit flowier. And I appreciate you all for going with me through the process of learning. So this episode is also going to be like a mini workshop, like a little bit of a brainstorm for you. So make sure that you have a pen and paper nearby and that you have this space to really listen and also spend the time investment on working with yourself. If you can't sit down and brainstorm with yourself for 5 minutes, how do you feel like you're going to have the drive to get you where you want to be in life? It's all in these small decisions that you make. So really put the time aside to give yourself time, space, and love and show up for yourself. There seems to be this thought pattern of like, you have to go to a 9 to 5, you have to do this, you have to do that in order to survive in the world. But what if I told you that exactly what you want to do in life is probably exactly how you're meant to serve others? I want to address head on this idea that just making money is like there's something wrong with it, or you shouldn't want to make money, or it's evil to make money. You living your purpose, I guarantee you it will fill your pockets with a lot of money. And so if that's something that you want, you don't have to feel bad about that. And when you are living in alignment with your purpose and you're doing it well, you're going to have that money. And so the other thought is, well, if I follow my purpose, I'm going to be broke. And hey, maybe at the beginning of your journey, it's like you're just beginning. The funds might not be evident right away, but that's what this episode is going to be about, getting you through the beginning steps so that you can start to see some results. Because I wanted to start this off this way because I want to let you know the things that you're good at, the things that you love to do, could it be possible that the reason your creator made you good at those things, the reason your creator has you like those certain things, because it's part of your purpose. It's part of the reason why you are here. And if you learn how to develop those skills in a way that helps other people, you'll definitely have the funds. Because check this. Check this. Frederick Dodson says, your purpose is an overlap, like a Venn diagram of what other people want. And then the other side of the Venn diagram is what you want. And in the middle where they overlap, that's your success, that's your purpose. So if you figure out what you love to do, and then you answer this one question, how is this going to serve others? That right there is the key to your success. Because whenever you're showing up and providing a service, you're living your purpose, I would say it's not fully your purpose if you're not serving others. You could say, okay, yeah, I just want to do this all day. But really at a soul level, what we all want is to be connected. We're a social species. We love being around other people. We love helping other people. Like, this is just deeply embedded within us. And so you serving is definitely a part of your purpose, whatever you do. And if you find out how to serve people in a way that deeply helps them and provides them value, of course you're going to get value back. So if you're asking, okay, that sounds great, I hear what you're saying, do what I want to do and figure out how it helps other people, but I don't really know what I want to do. So here's the question. This also came from Fred Dodson. Ask yourself this one question. If I had everything, like literally all the cars, all the money, all the jewelry, all the funds, a genie in a bottle gave you all of this stuff. You're living in this dream house that you have, whatever the case may be, and your butler, they text your phone, they ask you, hey, what do you want to do today? Genuinely, think about that. Write down, what would you do? You have everything already. You did everything already. What is there left to do for you? What do you really want to do? Okay, now you're back from answering that question. So this is simple. Now that you have the answer to that, that's exactly what you're going to do now. For example, when I answered that question, it was like, I would be a coach. I would help other people. I would spend all of my time literally invested in spirituality, this type of content, creating this type of content, coaching people one-on-one, coaching groups. And it's like, okay, well, that's something you can totally do today. Some things maybe it requires a bit of a time investment, a bit of a money investment. Say you want to flip houses, you would spend all your time redecorating houses. Okay, well then you start to act as if that were true. If you had that house to flip, what would you do with it? What are some of the design plans that you have? Start getting yourself ready to do that thing. But most of the things you can do now. I saw this person online that answered this question, and they said, you know what? If that were the case, I would move back to Florida. I would just be in my garden all day. And it turns out that they took that advice from themselves. They moved back to Florida and they started a garden company. And so then they were living in their purpose. The thing that they love to do with their time was actually able to serve others. They were able to not only live their purpose and serve others, but be able to live the lifestyle that they wanted because that provided for it. And the most important part is that they felt fulfilled again. So let's take this even deeper. Part of being successful too is living your life in a way that you enjoy. Too often people say, I'm only going to let myself enjoy life until I hit this mark. I'm only going to be happy until I get to this certain point. And if you listen here, you know I call that playing the if only game. If only I lost weight, then I would have a good partner. Then I could feel love. If only I had a little cat, then I would be happy. If only I could be on a roof, then I would watch the sunset and I could feel fulfilled. No, we don't do that over here. And we're going to start to put what you want into your reality now. Not wait for an external result, because when you wait for an external result, you're not only going to not find that happiness, but you're going to spend your whole life waiting to be fulfilled when you could just experience it now. So I want us to revisit that question. Okay, like you're already successful. What are you doing with your time? Who are you hanging out with? What are you thinking about? What are you listening to? What are you feeling? Too often we put off these things that we really want into the someday bucket. And we don't want to carry around the someday bucket and at the end of our life have all of these things that we wish we would have done. So for me, that looked like dating. Like open share here, right? When I was in middle school, I thought I was too young to date. When I was in high school, I still thought I was too young to date. And then when I was older, I was getting my real estate license, selling houses, I thought a career is way more important than me focusing on dating and focusing on this area of my life. And then at a certain point, I realized, okay, well, this is actually something that I want to do, but I'm just waiting until someday. One day I realized, well, if I was really successful, this is how I would be spending my time, enjoying my life in this way. And the result of this is that I'm suppressing a desire, something that I want to explore in my life. And it's actually further proving and implying to myself that I'm not successful. So why don't I just start to explore dating now instead of waiting until someday? When you stop putting these things off, a lot of the times you'll have emotions come up and you'll get to the real reason of why you've been putting it off. And that's a whole different other podcast episode. But my point is, don't wait, especially because when the thing that you want to do, you're probably going to suck at first. Even in dating, that applies. Like, you're going to want to get into a groove of what you're doing. For example, my podcast here. Every single time I think I have things figured out, it's just not the case. Today, I went and listened to some of the podcast episodes on my YouTube channel. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry to my consistent listeners, because the way I was editing or something, I wasn't re-listening to them. I was like stopping my sentence and starting it over because I would fix it in editing. But for whatever reason, it didn't get edited out. So I'm like repeating myself 3 times. And the episode sounds terrible. The quality's not that good. And even before that, like my mic was off. So what I'm getting at is you're going to wish that you had started years before when you had actually started, because there's a learning curve to everything. And the deeper that you get into something, the more mastery that you'll have into it, because now I know more about a podcast. Now I can see what's actually good, what's actually not good. And there will be things that you realize, okay, I need to get better in this way and this way and this way. And the only way that you will get better is if you just go. The people who really get what they want in life, it's because they show up when they're not even fully ready. If you listen here consistently, you know I say ready, fire, aim. You show up, you just go, and then later you course correct. And maybe you invest in getting someone to help you course correct because you're learning from other people's mistakes, not your own. But the point is, you just gotta fire, fire, fire. And then the more that you fire, you have more chances to correct. But if you were to take the time, calculate every single thing perfectly, and then fire, you're not going to see how it actually lands until you've wasted so much time calculating. And the person, your competition, which no one's really in competition, right? But for these purposes, your competition, they've already fired 5 times. They already have 5 times, probably 10 times, 20 times the knowledge at this point, because you learn super freaking fast from making mistakes. So the point is just show up for yourself. And even deeper, don't let your fear of being imperfect stop you from going. A lot of high achievers, a lot of people who are amazing people, they look good, they show up good, but they have a fear of going forward on the next few things that they know that they want to do, because they are afraid if they show up in a way that makes them look imperfect, they are not going to be loved. And it gets really triggered when they're not good at something. You're good at everything you do, so why start at something new and you're not going to be good? Oh no, you're going to be bad at playing piano and everybody's going to judge you. Now you're bad. And thinking in these terms is not just going to drain you out, but it's going to stop you from getting your XP. It's going to stop you from learning things in life, because the more that you're able to show up and be okay with being a complete and total disaster, a failure, the more that you're going to learn. It goes back to ready, fire, aiming. So don't let the fear of looking weird stop you. That's why your competition was able to go 5 times already. She just doesn't really care if she looks cringy. I know for a fact my videos are cringy on the internet. I know the people in my hometown probably see that and think I'm weird. I know the people who follow me, maybe some of them don't resonate with the content. Okay, and eventually the people who really resonate, who really that I'm trying to attract, they'll come and they'll be pulled in and they will love me. They will be obsessed. And the people who do not like it, they will hate me. They'll want to kill me. And that's what being authentic does. You become polarizing. And a lot of people are afraid of being polarizing because it causes such strong emotions. The people that love you, and the people that hate you, hate you. And you have to be okay being seen just as you are, to not just be fully loved, fully seen, but to get what you want in life. How are you going to expect someone in your life to even fully show up for you, fully love you for who you are, if you won't even show who you are? So you have to be able to have the courage to put yourself out there just as you are, look imperfect, to show up, be loved, and be okay with even people disliking you and hating you. When you are confident to show up and be hated, you will attract people who love you. You're not afraid of the hate. You're not afraid of people disliking you. And that calls in the love and the affection from people, because you are more focused on loving yourself. You're not hating yourself so much that you can't put yourself out there. So show up as yourself if you want to be loved as yourself. Some people show up consistently as something they are not, because it's easier to be rejected for something that you are not than to be rejected for who you really are. And And what a shame though, because when you show up as who you aren't, you're starting to attract people who you do not resonate with. So of course they'll reject you because you're not really that. They don't really resonate with you. When you show up as yourself, you give yourself permission to attract the people who really resonate with you and really love you. This freaking goes back to your purpose. I swear it does. I know that was a tangent, but I swear it goes back to living your purpose. Because if you are showing up as someone that you're not going to be able to be fully within your purpose, because your purpose is directly related to who you are and your vision. Your full purpose comes through when you are fully embodied in yourself, because it's God's vision through you. You are just receiving something from a higher source. And if you don't believe in a higher source, maybe you're just channeling from the universe. You're just channeling from your higher self, whatever you want to say. But you are literally picking up on your pre-plan for yourself. And when you're embodied in yourself, you can listen to those little cues from the universe to say, okay, this is where you go next. This is what you say next. This is what you do next. And embodying who you are and your purpose, you will attract the people who want to support you and who resonate with you and who you can really help. You have to be fearless to show up through your purpose, because since it's your purpose, it's your vision. No one else might see this vision. You might have supporters, but you can't expect other people to see your vision because it is your vision from God. They are not you. How could you expect them to understand your vision or your mission when they are not you? So you have to be fearless and be able to show up as yourself in that way as well. Because you might have people that are saying, hey, this is just not a good idea to put yourself out there as doing this, that, and the third. You know, you should really follow this path. You should really be a doctor or whatever. And they're just doing that from their limited perspective and maybe their vision from God. But when you can see your own vision, you have to stay true to yourself, because you can see something that they just cannot, because how could they? They're not you. And when you can see your vision, show up as who you are in your purpose, be yourself, and help others, you'll attract the people that love you, who want to help you help them. Is it not true? I mean, like my yoga teacher, I am obsessed with him. I don't really want to learn yoga from anyone else. I want to learn yoga from him. The person I know that owns a plant shop, I love her. I want to buy plants from her. I don't want to buy plants from anyone else. The person that's my coach, I like them as my coach. I want them as my coach right now. The server that went out of their way to be kind to me and nice to me and is exactly showing up in the way that speaks to me, I want to tip them well. I want to show up for them. I want them to be my server next time. You see what I'm saying? When you are showing up as who you are in this particular way, you're going to attract people that love to pay you and spend time with you because it just resonates. So all this might be true and great, and you're like, I get it, but this seems really far off. So let's break it down a little bit more, because my intention was for you to kind of have a path that you can follow. So let's just keep it a baby step, right? So ask yourself, now that you know exactly what you want to do, you know what you would be spending your time doing, and you know what you would be spending your time on in other areas of life, like what you would be wearing, what you would be thinking about, what you would be talking about, who you'd be spending your time with. I want you to ask, okay, well, what's one step I can do this week for me to start living in alignment with that? Maybe if you answered, oh, I'd be spending more time with my family. That's so easy. You can do that. If you are spending your time and your thoughts in a way that your successful self would, you know that you're getting closer to that reality. You're aligning with that. So living with that version of yourself will eventually get you there. So if you did mention things that you're like, okay, I don't necessarily have the capital yet to do that, that's fine. What is a step that you can take to get there? And if you just have zero clue because it's just simply a money thing, okay, how can we act as if and pretend essentially that you do have that money? Like I said with the example of flipping houses. Okay, so say that you had a house to flip. We're going to act as if you had that house to flip. What would you do then? Give me some design ideas. Give me some numbers that you need to know. Connect with contractors. Oh, because I'm going to flip this house, I want to make this connection. I know a woman who literally every single person that she runs into, she tells them about this movie that she's going to make. She has this script. She knows the actors that are in there. She has spoken to many investors about this, and she's just waiting on that money to come. But literally, when I go out with her, it's kind of insane. She talks to every single fucking person about this movie. She goes up to the security guard that's working there. Hey, I'm going to make this movie, da 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 da. I can't tell you how many investors, how many connections she has gotten from doing this. Oh, I can hook you up with the owner of Zoom. Oh, I can hook you up with this person in Beverly Hills that loves to invest in movie. I can hook you up with this person because everybody knows a guy that knows a guy. So this story is just to say, if you really have that vision, stand on it, act as if, tell the person that's checking you out. I don't know, but if it's real to you, if it's true to you, and that's your purpose, now you know it, put it in your heart, put it in your identity, and start to go out into the world as if that it's going to happen. And I guarantee you, eventually, if she doesn't give up, this movie's going to happen because she talks about it to everyone. And most importantly, on an emotional level, if this were true, how would you feel? When we're talking about deep quantum leaping, changing your identity, one of the most important questions besides the physical stuff, because the physical stuff is always a route to get here, the question is, how would you feel? And if you can start to feel that emotionally, energetically, boom, that's the switch. You're going to start attracting it to you like a freaking magnet because you're now radiating. And when I'm saying this, let me explain it. Let me break it down. If I'm saying feel how you would feel how you would feel if you already had it. This is not feeling a yearning for money. No, we're not wanting money. We're having money. How would you feel if you had money? How would you feel if you had millions upon millions upon millions? You have $20 billion in your account. Figure out what to do with that. How would you feel? And when people talk about feeling, a lot of the times they're in the situation that they're in because they're stuck on the feeling of lack. They hear me say 20 billion and immediately in their body that it goes to craving, needing, wanting. 20 billion, how would I get that? It's just on a body level they feel it. Maybe they're not even thinking how. But I need you to flip that on its head. Instead of feeling the lack of something, the wanting, start to feel the having. When you're in the grocery store, oh my gosh, I am so grateful that I have all this money to spend in the grocery store here when you're paying for something. Oh my gosh, I have billions upon whatever you need to mentally do to start to physically feel it. And that's why I said all the time when you're making physical changes, like wearing different clothing, acting as if talking to other people, a lot of the times it's just to get you into a feeling state of having. So whatever you need to do, scripting, visualization, talking to me, setting up a call, whatever you need to do to get more into the feeling of something, that is what's going to flip that switch for you and start getting you the results. This goes into the feeling. And if you have zero results, you're going to have faith in advance. That's just how it is. You're just going to have to trust that things will work out for you because you are doing the energetic work, but you're also putting yourself out there. So when you're doing it in this way, you just have to know, if I follow this path, it is inevitable that I get there because I am walking on the path. It's imagine you're taking a walk to the beach and you have the directions all laid out and you're walking there and you're like, fuck, what if I don't get there? What if I don't get there in time? How do I know I'm going to arrive? What if a seagull comes and then they pick me up and take me away? I'm afraid. And then you start turning back and you're walking back home, and then you start turning back and walking to the beach, and then you start walking somewhere else, but it's like you had the directions. Okay, so just keep walking with the directions. You might have something unexpected come up on the path, but if you keep walking that path, you're eventually going to get there. Oh no, it looks like the path might be a little bit longer than we thought. There was a construction work. Okay, but if you go around, if you keep walking that path, I'm telling you, like, genuinely, think about this. If you're walking to the beach, you have the map, you know that you're on the path, wouldn't you be confident that eventually you'll get there? Who cares how long it's going to take? Maybe you miss an appointment, but you wanted to get to the beach. That was like the one thing that you wanted to do. So if this is the one thing that you want to do with your life, who cares how long it takes you? If you're devoted to it, if you're on the path, you're just keeping on putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll get there. So start with those tiny little steps, and you ask yourself, what's one thing I can do this week? Maybe you ask yourself every day, hey, what's one thing I can do today to get me one step closer? What's one thing I can do this week? And you ask yourself that over and over again, because eventually you'll get to the point where you feel it enough that you attract a little piece of evidence of your goal. Like, for example, when I first started coaching, I had 0 clients. Like, I had never put myself out there as a coach. I had worked with some people one-on-one before, yeah, but I didn't really have clear results that someone would pay X amount of money for 12 weeks with me. I just had to have that faith in advance until the first client I got. Then there's some physical proof. Then I can start to feel into that physical proof and amplify that emotion, and it makes it a little bit easier. Then you attract another client, and then it makes you even more sure. You can feel it even more. And then things just spiral and spiral. And eventually things like, they accumulate, and it's easier to attract an abundance because you're feeling it already. So, but until you get to that point, you have to have faith in advance. But now talking about when you get a little piece of evidence, like, celebrate your wins. It is so easy for everyone. This is like the reason I value having a coach so much at this point. It's like your wins will come and people forget to give themselves flowers. The abundance comes and you forget to say thank you. I personally have an abundance win list in my phone. And it's huge deal things from small deal things. Oh my gosh, someone let me into traffic and I really needed a turn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I got a parking spot. Thank you. I got a new subscriber on YouTube. Hallelujah. Incredible. I went on this fantastic vacation. I went on an amazing date with this amazing man. He took me out to dinner. It was fantastic. Whatever, like small things, big things. I got a new client. This is incredible. Like, all of it needs to go in the abundance win list, because when you train yourself like, yes, this is amazing, and you give thanks, you give gratitude, and you feel into your wins, what happens? What you focus on expands, and you're going to start to attract more and more and more of that into your life because you're just living in it. The success. It's delightful. It's juicy. So you're going to start to have a delicious life because you're focusing all on this goodness. So it's so important to keep an eye on your wins and don't let yourself be that person. Oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. The ego loves to play that game. The ego wants something so bad, and then when we get like little hits of it or we get there, the ego's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. On to the next thing. No. We don't play that game over here. Girlie, give yourself some flowers. Give yourself a cookie. Like give yourself that pat on the back, whatever it takes. Because the more that you do that, the more that you're going to keep yourself in abundance. When you play that ego game, okay, on to the next thing, you are keeping yourself in lack. So when you get a new follower, and even if your goal is to have thousands of more followers, okay, that one new follower, that just got you a step closer there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Congratulations. Hallelujah, it's here. Amazing. And the more that you can get into that, the more that you can attract things effortlessly, right? Glad we're on the same page. Make that abundance win list today. Like, it's important for you. This is also important because in my experience, sometimes your successes, your wins can be non-linear. You might take a step forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. And so it's important to not look at the daily of things so much as the bigger picture. If you're overall making consistent progress, if improvement slightly, if you're watching, you can see my hand go up slightly over a long period of time, that's going to create exponential growth. And so a little bit of improvement over a long time, it goes up a long way. It makes a lot of change. So it's okay if in the day-to-day things look slow, but over a long period of time, it's going to look like huge change. People overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. So keep that in mind when it comes to looking at the bigger picture of things and not getting lost in the details of every single day. So to summarize everything, most importantly, the things that you love, the things that you are good at, it's going to be a part of your purpose. It was so funny. This guy I'm talking to, he says, I love your voice. And then a different guy, because we date multiple men over here, said, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with the way that you articulate yourself, the way you just come across. So of course, it would make sense that I love to show up on podcasts. I love to speak, and other people will notice the things that you're good at. If you're not sure what it is, listen, what have people told you your whole life you're good at, you're amazing at? The stuff that you're naturally good at, it's your natural birthright. It's your natural purpose, right? Secondly, start showing up how you would if you were successful. If you already had it all, what would you be doing with your time? Who would you be seeing? Would you spend your time on this if you had the $1 million? Would you go to that place if you were already successful? If not, where would you go? What would you wear? Who would you talk to? What would you have the confidence to do? Really getting into the details of that. Like, what would life really look like if you had everything, and doing that today, not playing the if only game? We let go of the idea that we have to be perfect in order to start. And we just trust our process. We trust that we're on the path. You know that you have that roadmap. You know that you're in that direction. You've decided for it. So nothing's going to stop you. If the days get hard, you just know that you're putting your feet in front of the other and you're asking yourself, what can I do to get 1 step closer? We don't have to get 10 steps closer. 1 step at a time. Like, take 1 step at a time. There's no need. If you know Jordan Sparks, you know that there's no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. If you're watching, you can see my beautiful cat joining in on the festivities over here. Because, yeah, you need to just take 1 step at a time. Give yourself permission to have faith in advance. And when proof shows up, feel into that. The feeling is the key. So allow yourself to feel all your success. Even if you do not have the proof, feel it now. Feel it today. Like I said, we don't wait. Not us. We're the ones that feel good regardless of what's going on in the outside world. The outside world does not dictate our feelings because we are conscious co-creators. We create our feelings. Allow yourself to make mistakes and keep an eye on your progress, and allow yourself to know that you are making progress over the long period. This is not a weekly success thing. This is a lifetime. So you can make mistakes in the process. You literally have devoted your entire life to being a better you. So it doesn't have to be done in a week. Rome wasn't built in a week, or whatever they say, if that's the saying. But we also celebrate ourselves and we keep an eye on our wins so that we can attract even more of that goodness into our life and appreciate what has already been given to us. Imagine I was asking you to share your snacks and I was like, "Ooh, can I have that one?" But you had already given me like 4 or 5 bags of chips and I hadn't even said thank you. Like, how would you feel? That's not very grateful. So we want to make sure that we are appreciating ourselves, appreciating the universe for what we already have, because that's ultimately what's going to attract more, but it's also what's going to make us happy. Like, be happy with where you are right now because it's part of your journey. And this is what's going to make your come up story. Like, nobody wants to hear a story about, oh, everything was perfect it all worked out. She knew from the day that she started, the day she was born, she knew. And there was no problem. Like, she got everything that she wanted from the second that she came out the womb. Not saying that it has to be hard. I'm just saying that our soul likes a fun story. And so we like surprise. We like good surprises. And we like fun. Imagine how boring that would be if you had no unknown. You got everything immediately. Might be fun for a week. So, allow yourself to be where you are on the journey, but keep your attention on what you prefer. With that being said, I love you so much. I thank you for showing up for yourself in this way. I hope that your notes were beautiful. I hope that you got something out of this and that you're able to implement it today so that you can feel in alignment with your purpose. If you have questions, if you have content that you would like to hear from me, because I have a lot to say, please leave a comment about what you'd like to hear about. And if you'd like to reach out for one-on-one session, comment or DM me, and maybe to make it easy, you can DM me a line. But all of my socials are at Siva's Soul. So it was a pleasure spending this time with you today. I love you, gorgeous goddess, and I will see you next time. Mwah.